He who avoids complaint invites happiness. Without knowledge action is useless, and knowledge without action is futile. It is difficult to be patient, but to waste the rewards of patience is worse. A man who is shy and modest is an amazing character, but a woman who is shy and modest is beyond amazing. If you expect the blessings of God, be kind to His people. O man, you are busy working for the world, and the world is busy trying to turn you out. It is a matter of shame that in the morning the birds should be awake earlier than you. He who prays 5 times a day is in the protection of God, and he who is protected by God cannot be harmed by anyone. Good actions are a guard against the blows of adversity. Do not look down upon any Muslim, for even the most inferior believer is great in the eyes of God. If an ignorant person is attracted by the things of the world, that is bad. But if a learned person is thus attracted, it is worse. The greatest truth is honesty, and the greatest falsehood is dishonesty. Every day, nay every moment, try to do some good deed. Use the same measure for selling that you use for purchasing. Death is the easiest of all things after it, and the hardest of all things before it. He who fears to weep, should learn to be kind to those who weep. When knowledge is limited, it leads to folly. When knowledge exceeds a certain limit, it leads to exploitation. The more knowledge you have, the greater will be your fear of Allah. Our abode in this world is transitory, our life therein is but alone, our breaths are numbered and our indolence is manifest. If you want to control other people, first control yourself. Be good to others, that will protect you against evil. He who is not impressed by sound advice, lacks faith. The true believer is rewarded in everything, even in affliction. When you advise any person, you should be guided by the fear of God. Do not follow vain desires, for verily he who prospers is preserved from lust, greed and anger. To fight against the infidels is jihad, but to fight against your evil self is greater jihad. Knowledge is the life of the mind. He who comes to take the love of God can have no taste for the love of the world. You should not quarrel with your neighbor, for he will remain where he is, but your high-handedness will become the talk of the people. Pride in the case of a rich man is bad, but pride in the case of a poor man is worse. Follow the way of life, which the Holy Prophet has shown you, for verily that is the right path. It is bad for a young man to sin, but it is worse for an old man to sin. He who indulges in falsehood will find the paths of paradise shut to him. Cursed is the man who dies, but the evil done by him survives. There is greatness in the fear of God, contentment and faith of God, and honor and humility. Allah will help him who moves in the way of Allah. The people who abandon jihad fall a victim to humility and degradation. Piety is the most solid goodness, and the vilest of what is evil is vice. As there is no darkness in the moonlight, so is Mustafa, Muhammad, the well-wisher, bright. Muslims should live like brothers. He who builds a masjid in the way of Allah, God will build a house for him in the paradise. Jihad is obligatory for the Muslims. He who becomes a Muslim does so in his own interest.